Hey folks, and welcome back. I'm Daniel, and this is Hydra Hobbies. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this Epic Encounters box sent to us by Steamforged Games. This explores the Ruins of Symbaroum setting. I'm looking forward to it, and I think that really, so far from what I've seen, no one else in the game does these giant monsters as well as Epic Encounters. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen today. Alright, let's dive in. While I am very familiar with Epic Encounters and have had a little bit good things to say about them, this is my first run-in with the Ruins of Symbaroum setting. Now for those who don't know, like me, it's a dark fantasy setting that deals with corruption and loss of self as a group called the Ambrians are forced to settle in the shadow of the Davalkar, a vast, ancient, and mystical forest that brims with the treasure of lost empires, the dangers that protect it, and the corrupting influence that seems to seep beneath every leaf of the dense forest canopy. Now for those wondering, this setting is 5th edition D&D compatible, so if you're looking for something to spice up your current game or to do something different with your next campaign, maybe go check that out. Though the setting may be different, the items inside the Epic Encounters box are exactly what I've come to expect. There's a high-quality paper map to play on that reflects the Symbaroum setting, and an encounter book that details how to make this an amazing fight for your party. It not only gives you a story and scenario to work this monster into your campaign, but it honestly gives you so much more than that. I can't stress this enough, these encounter books are actually amazing, telling you the behavior of the creature, its motivations, detailed and specific combat tactics, as well as multiple unique combat mechanics, and more. Seriously, I think these get underrated in other reviews. Yes, the minis are amazing, but if you are a DM with a regular game to run, these encounter booklets are a huge time saver and absolutely fantastic. They're also filled with incredible art that often helps to inspire me about how to paint the miniature inside. Along with that, the box does come with a set of tokens that can be used instead of miniatures if you don't have the accompanying encounter that goes with this one. That said, Epic Encounters did send me that box as well, so we're going to take a look at that in a future video. Of course, here's what I know you're really after, the mini itself. A massive, 4-legged tree monster that showcases much of what I love about Epic Encounters giant monsters: crisp and abundant details, an excellent and unique design, and a pose that's actually interesting and fun to paint. Let's get started. I started by priming the mini in white, and then I sprayed it from below with blue paint and above with green. This was just to save time. You could absolutely brush these base coats on instead. I started next with heavily dry brushing a desaturated gray-green over the majority of the skin. Now it's absolutely fine to cover the plants and bark at this point too, since that's going to be painted over later. But don't go so hard on it that you take away the vibrant green and blue shadows completely. I definitely want those blue colors below, as they're sort of reflecting the darkness and shadow of the forest floor back up at the creature's belly. As you can see, those 2 steps alone do a lot of heavy lifting when the details on the monster are this well defined. I decided to do an oil wash step next, which I know is a little unusual to do this early, but I'm going to be bringing in a lot of brighter colors later and I don't want them shaded down, so I'm going to do the wash early. I use a mix of Payne's Gray, which is sort of a cold blue to spite the name, and black oil paint. I mix these with white spirits, make sure it gets everywhere on the mini, and leave it to dry. This is honestly just so satisfying, one of my favorite parts of painting. The way it seeps into the cracks and crevices on the model and shades them does so much to bring things to life, and it just tickles me every single time. I do spend a few minutes once it's dry taking the same paint I used earlier and re-establishing the highlight color. I do a lighter dry brush over just the highest and most upward facing parts of the mini. Now it's time to start base coating all of the wooden panels. In the end, this is mostly going to be a shadow color left in the very darkest recesses. I actually love the way the sculptors at Steamforged Games make their wood textures because they're very easy to paint and to make them look fantastic. For this, I just take my time going around the whole mini and picking out any little bits of wood and getting this base color on there. I do try to be careful around the edges though. I don't want to have to touch up the skin at this point. After that, it's a simple matter of taking a lighter wood color and painting over the majority of the panels, just avoiding the recesses. Again, the sculpting here is your friend and makes it really easy. It takes a bit of time, but it's not difficult. And that makes this the perfect time for me to thank you for watching, and to thank those who donate through Patreon or private donations for what you do for the channel. Things have come a long way since I started, and that would not have been possible without all of your support. Thank you so much. Please go ahead and hit like or subscribe or share this video with a friend if you can. It really does help small YouTube channels like mine. If you want to support the channel monetarily, there are links below to do that as well. So this is where the first highlight leaves us. It's already looking pretty good, but I like to take it a step further. I get an even lighter brown and basically edge highlight all of the wood panels. I use the side of the brush for the majority of this, but any spot that has a big smooth surface, I take the tip of the brush in some very thin paint and just lightly draw some lines across it. This really enhances the already fantastic wood sculpting on the mini. So with the skin finished and the wood finished, it's time to do a few things to make the sculpt pop out. This monster is covered in plants, flowers, and vines. For me, the whole idea of this paint job was to make it look like this creature would blend in with the forest. If it was sitting still in the trees, you'd never even know it was there. But that doesn't mean I want it to be bland. So I pick out a few bright colors, greens, magenta, and yellow, and start picking out flowers, leaves, and vines with my brush. They just get simple highlights, little pops of color to differentiate them from the bulk of the monster, and to highlight the detail in the sculpt. Again, this is a very simple technique that should be beginner friendly, but it gets a great result. Here is the finished piece, and I stand by what I said earlier. No one does this better than Epic Encounters. The monster looks fantastic, it was fun and easy to paint even with beginner-friendly techniques like dry brushing and washes that anyone can do. Big monsters don't have to be intimidating as a painter, and this is proof of that. Everything I did here was really simple. I love the finished mini, and I'm 100% definitely going to use the combat encounter and ideas in the manual that came with it. It's hard to ask for more than that. I do have the other encounters box that accompanies this one, and I'll be looking at it in a future video. What do you think? Do you have a favorite monster from the Epic Encounters line when you really enjoyed painting yourself? Who's your favorite go-to company for giant monsters? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.